What is good, YouTube, man? How is everybody doing? Hope everybody's having a fantastic Saturday. We are here. Gonna give a live preview, man, to this matchup that we have tomorrow against the Arizona Cardinals. One of us is gonna get our first win of the season. As we know, it did not go too well for us last week, but that is okay because that ends this week. But we're going to talk about all things that have to do with this matchup, player for player, who's out, who's in, all this kind of stuff. But guess what, man? Before we start this, shout out to everybody who's already in the building. We got my brother Halo in the building. Shout out to my guy. We got Kenny, Sean, Kyle's in the building. Who else? We got Halo again. Anthony, Emmanuel, the numbers, hates money, was good. Not a Raider YouTube. Shout out to Swin. We got just another DJ, Crispin, Raider. Who else we got up in here? Oh shit, it went down. Raider Paulie. I did not know how to say that name. Christian Mesa, DeMarcus, Derek Vehicle, Raider Rob, Buddha. We got Juan in the building. Anthony. We got another Anthony in the building. Are we winning this game with a run game or in the air? Let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about that because for me, I know what we need to get out of the gate. Shout out to my guy Derek Vehicle again. We got Jose in the building. We got Anthony again, Marty Mark, John Beck, Sean Donahue, my guys, Jorge DeMarcus. All right. We are all caught up, and shout out to the 60 people that we got in here. Hit that like button. But I want to start off with this right here. Phenomenal question coming from our guy, Anthony Hernandez. He says, are we winning this game through the run or with the run or through the air? In my opinion, you have to establish the run game early. This is a team that gave up over 145 yards on the ground to the Kansas City Chiefs. Each running back on the Chiefs averaged over 5.4 yards a carry. Clyde Edwards-Helaire averaged 6.1 yards per carry against them. This is a game we have to establish the run game early. We did not go out and we didn't establish our run game. We didn't establish our run game until the third quarter. And guess what? It was very, very effective. Josh Jacobs was running extremely well in that third quarter. And that is something that I think that we need to start off in the beginning. Do you know why? Because we can't go out and just force feed Devontae. But what you can do is the best thing in this league, in my opinion, and that is the play action. When you're pulling linebackers down, allowing your receivers to go over the top, it is a recipe for big plays. Big plays are recipes for success. I am a big fan of establishing that run game early, whether it's Josh, whether it's Zamir White, whether it's not going to be Brandon Bolden, whether it's Amir Abdullah or Britton Brown if he's active. All these guys, the Raiders have so many options, and I am extremely excited to see how we attack this team because, yes, they have the Swiss Army knife in Isaiah Simmons, but it seems like they haven't been able to figure him out yet. So as of right now, we're going up against a team that hasn't done good against the run, but also shout out to Robert. He says they gave up 360 yards passing, which I believe, shout out to Robert, ranks them worst in the NFL, which means that is 32nd. So guess what, you guys? In my opinion, I wouldn't go out and say that this is like a make or break game, not at all. But in my eyes, this is a much less of a task than what we just had to deal with the Los Angeles Chargers, okay? This is my thing, okay? If we aren't able to get the run game going, I do expect Josh McDaniels to do something that he did not do at all last game, and that is run screens. I think that for teams that, for whatever reason up front, are having a lot of revolving doors, as we know, we're going to have center rookie Dylan Parham playing center. We're going to have John Simpson at the left guard. We're going to have Lester Cotton on the right guard. So that's three moving pieces in the front, right? So This is what I think. If we do struggle early to get lanes for Josh or Zamir White or all these other running backs that we have in here, I think that it's going to be very, very key and important for Josh McDaniels and Mick Lombardi to dial up these screen plays, really get our guys out in space, even if our run game isn't working. These quick passes get us down the field, move the chains. I really, really think that that's what we should do. So hopefully this week, Coach McDaniels opens up the playbook a little bit. We saw him run a ton of screens in our Hall of Fame game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But something to look at, man. Josh McDaniels isn't rushing anything, and I also do like that. He has mentioned multiple times that he's only going to put out there what the team is prepared for. He's not going to say, okay, we're going to run this go route or this play that we haven't ran all throughout camp, but it's in our playbook, so let me call it, right? He is running what the team is prepared for. Hopefully, the playbook only expands each and every week, and I think it will. But I think it is important to go out there, be methodical, don't get over-aggressive, Derek Carr, because we don't want to give this team the ball, right? One thing that I think is extremely important is for actually Max Crosby. Tomorrow I hope to have a little bit of clips up for you guys before the game, but something that I saw almost too much from Max Crosby last week was, instead of rushing and staying in the contain lane and staying on the outside of the offensive tackle, he continuously tried to go on the inside. Now, for Justin Herbert, that may not have mattered too much because we know Herbert can get loose, but he's not a Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray will see that and he will attack that. If he sees that there is a spot where the offensive tackle has his defensive end on the inside, Kyler Murray will break contain and he will try and make that pass out of the pocket, or he will just try and run. So I do expect Max Crosby this week to be a little bit more disciplined on sticking to the outsides and making sure that nothing goes on the outside and really trusting on the interior, which is something that's going to be a little bit interesting, right? Because if we do ask Chandler and if we do ask Max to stick to the outside and make sure nothing goes outside, guess what? Bilal Nichols is going to have a big test. Jonathan Hankins is going to have a big test. Hopefully we see our two rookies, because we did not see them last week. Neil Farrell Jr. and Matthew Butler. Would be exciting to see that. Also, I do hope to see what's his name? Tashawn Bowers, a guy that was very good in the preseason, but we didn't see him in the season opener. So we'll see what we do in this game. We do have a couple of key players out, as we do know, but they are without a couple of key players. I think today we will know if they will actually be without defensive lineman J.J. Watt. So it gets very interesting. Mahomes put up 5 TDs. Carr will put up 4 TDs and 2 rushing. I like to see that right there, SVT, my guy. Yeah, no trick plays. Yeah, I agree. I was not a big fan of that. I hated it, actually, if you saw the live reaction. Kyler doesn't watch film. Andy, we good? Oh, man. No, we're not good. If we allow him to break contain, it is not good. Amir Abdullah is very effective if you spread him out on the field in open spaces. Yes, that is one of the reasons why ever since we signed Amir Abdullah from the day one, I said that Amir Abdullah was going to make this roster. I vouched for him. Here he is. He made this roster. I hope now that we can get Amir Abdullah in these one-on-one matchups, how we use Brandon Bolden on a linebacker. I hope that Amir Abdullah can get into a screen, or actually, we saw our team go 5 wide a lot. I'd much rather Amir Abdullah be in the 5 wide than Josh Jacobs. So just seeing all the different ways that we can line up with this offense, it's exciting, but we also have to make sure that our offense is prepared to do all of that, So interesting time. Shout out to D-Mags. Hopefully Derek Carr doesn't come out playing fucking buddy ball again and spread the ball around. Yeah, I mean, Derek Carr did what he needed to do. He took accountability. He mentioned the fact that he was being too aggressive. He forced multiple passes, and I highly doubt that that'll ever happen again. But this is the only thing, right? Devontae Adams is going to play for the first time in a stadium in the NFL with his grandma there. Okay, he's gonna fucking go off. Like, he is going to go off. Like, I know we may not want Derek Carr to force the ball, but regardless, Devontae Adams is gonna get his touches. He's gonna get his. So yes, I agree. Derek Carr, spread the ball out. Do what you've been doing. Take what the defense gives you. As soon as you see a shot, take it. I love that. I would really, really love to see that. But at the same time, he said that when he threw the pick to Darren Waller in the middle of the field, he said that he had Hunter Renfrow underneath and he could have hit Renfrow, but he wanted to take that shot and get the chunk play. Obviously, he could have put a little bit more air on the ball, or he could have positioned into a spot where Darren Waller could utilize his height, but it didn't happen, right? Mistakes get made in the process. It is what it is. But ultimately, going into this game, I think that you must establish a run game early, because if you do establish that run game early, it's going to be very, very hard for them, even when we're in a 3rd and 5 or a 3rd and 4, even a 3rd and 6, they're still going to have to respect the run. And instead, they're not going to be able to rush the passer as they would want to. They may not be able to put that pass rushing defensive tackle in, or they may not be able to put that third edge rusher in, or that third speed rusher guy, because they want to continuously be prepared for the run. So I think that we need to establish that out the gate. I would like to see us run at least 4 times in the opening drive, unless we get a huge play to start it out. But it is important. Establish the run, play actions, increase big plays, man. So very, very exciting to see that. It's going to happen again. It's Carr. Look, man, if Carr has another poor performance, what are we going to do? Fucking put Jarrett Stidham? Like, at the end of the day, we have to roll with what we got. At the moment, Derek Carr is our quarterback. I am confident in Derek Carr. Yes, he had a fucking horrible game, but that was last week. Let's move forward. Let's give this guy the benefit of the doubt. Let's keep pushing. Now, if we're in the offseason, yeah, we can talk about other scenarios, but who the fuck is trading an upgrade from Derek Carr right now in the season? Nobody. So let's prepare with what we have. Let's move forward, and let's be confident in our guys, man. That's what I think. Ricardo says we have to sack Kyler Murray. It'll happen. We need to get these guys in the ground. We cannot go another week where the quarterback has a clean jersey. In my eyes, that shit is disrespectful to the coaching staff that's been training you all fucking season, off season long. You have to get the quarterback on the ground. I cannot stand watching a football game where the quarterback leaves 4 fucking quarters out on the field and we didn't get their quarterback on the ground. It is unacceptable. It is pathetic. So I agree. We have to get Kyler Murray on the ground. We have to make sure that when we hit his ass, we give him a little bit more, make him scared, all that kind of shit, man. It has to happen. Shout out to my guy, Black Sales Sports Talk. If you guys don't know, this man got a channel of his own, so please subscribe to him if you haven't. He says, salute Luke, cuz ain't no way ain't gonna have 150 yards plus. Spent $500,000 with Dylan starting. Hopefully run game flourishes. Yes, that is true. He did say that he spent over $500,000 for those suites. He said that's probably one of the major differences from Green Bay and here, that them suites cost a lot. But yeah, bro, Tay is gonna go off. His grandma's is gonna be in attendance for the first time in his NFL career. It's going to go down. It is going to go down. But Dylan Parham definitely has a major task ahead of him going into this week. Not just because it's the NFL. No, it's because he's starting. He has to start, which he didn't do last week. He has to start. But he's starting at a position that he's only played at for about 7 months. And he's also starting at a position where, since entering the NFL, he's only been practicing it consistently for about 3 months. So it is going to be very, very important. I hope that Dylan Parham is doing all the extra work with Derek Carr after practice, is doing all the extra snaps before and after, because it is going to be important, right? Andre James, maybe he has a different snapping style where he does a dead snap. Maybe Parham does a regular lace snapping with the laces. So there's a lot of things that need to be done, a lot of things that need to be covered going into this game. The offensive line is going to be a major part in what we do. So we'll see. Viva Mexico Cabrones. Shout out to everybody in here, man. Yeah, Jones needs to earn that paycheck for sure. Chandler Jones has to show up this week. I agree, man. Chandler Jones will show up. He had, I believe, 3 or 4 pressures last week. Something that I will say that went extremely, extremely under the radar after I watched the film. Um, hey, Cleveland Furrow had a good game. Like Cleveland Furrow had a good game. I was a bit surprised to see. I believe he was second, or he led the team in pressures behind Max Crosby. So we'll see what happens with that, man. Cleveland Furrow. It looks like Patrick Graham has carved out a role for him. I know some people may not be excited with that. I am. But it's interesting to see nonetheless. Will we see Tashawn Bauer? Will we see Malcolm Kuntz? It'll be interesting to see how this whole week plays out tomorrow. So we'll see that. DC will be all right this week. I agree, John Beck. I agree. I think that he knows he had a fucking shitty ass performance last week. There's nobody in the fucking world that can say that he didn't play like shit. And if he can't fucking realize that, well, it seems like you're a fucking Derek Carr fan and not a Raider fan, right? I love Derek Carr. I'm glad we extended him, but simply he played like shit. He can't do it no more. Simple as that. It's simple as that. I'm hoping Abram has a huge game versus Murray. I think that Jonathan Abram has done very, very well in his progressing stage of his career. I think that he has now found a defensive coordinator that's going to allow him to play a style of football that really, really works for him in the NFL. You know, lining him up in the slot or in the big nickel where he can just go up against, smaller guys or tight ends that are slower or receivers that aren't going to be running these crazy long routes that he has to really, really flip his hips super far downfield, or where he can just blitz, spy on the quarterback. Now with Patrick Graham, he's at a place where he can actually flourish. So we'll see what happens with that. It'll be very, very interesting. So what's the narrative for Carr if he gets 2 TDs, 1 INT, or 2? Well, what do you mean, what's the narrative? This is my thing, right? This is my thing. Derek Carr is our quarterback right now, right? If he goes out and he throws 5 fucking interceptions next week or tomorrow, who the fuck is going to trade us a better option? Nobody. So we have to run with Derek Carr. So why not? Let's just build around him, be confident, and move forward. Like, it's like complaining about it isn't going to do shit. It's not going to do anything. It's really not. I think that Derek Carr had a bad performance and he'll do better. Simple as that. That's what I think. We didn't play our starters in preseason and it showed. I think for some of them it showed, yes. I think that for Colton Miller, for him to not take any reps in the preseason was maybe a little bit not on the smarter side. I would have actually loved to see how Colton Miller would have did against Trayvon Walker, the first overall pick. I would have loved to see how he would have did against a bunch of these other pass rushers in the preseason. Obviously, you only play him for a series of each game, so he doesn't have a high injury risk. But I'm excited. I'm excited about this game. So yeah, it is what it is. Fuck G. So are we overreacting because we are in the hardest division in the NFL? That definitely plays a part, right? When you're in this division, it's almost like you can't drop points. You can't drop points because every single team in this division has a chance to win it, right? Even though the Broncos looked fucking horrible, they have Russell Wilson and he can put them in a chance to win it. I think that the Seahawks, not the Seahawks, I think that the Broncos, yes, are the worst team in the division, but they have talent. I think that we have the ability to take first place. The Chiefs look like they haven't dropped off much without Tyreek Hill. Obviously, we haven't seen them play a big time, or they haven't give Sky Moore a big, role or any role. I think he was just returning kicks, but we'll see how that plays out, longer in the season. But, the Chargers, they're looking the part, right? So we'll see. But I definitely think that one game is not a big deal at all. Yes, we can all admit that although we love Derek Carr, the motherfucker played like shit. He played like shit, right? I said it all last season. I love Josh Jacobs, but for 12 out of 17 weeks last year, Josh Jacobs did not play good. So you call him out on it, right? And last week, he played fucking great when he got the ball. So you just need to have the ability to call people out on their bullshit. Don't be blind to the facts, what's fucking in front of you. And when they do good, we'll tell them they did good. But don't fucking just continue to be like, oh, he had one good game, so he can never do any wrong. No, that's also what you can't do. So look, Derek Carr, play like shit. We're moving forward. That's it. Going into this game, we have a lot of guys injured, so we need to see our two UDFA rookies, Lucas Masterson and Darian Butler, step up big time in the absence of Denzel Perryman. We need to see guys like Isaiah Polamau and Deron Harmon and Roderick Teamer step up big time in the absence of Trayvon Merrick. We need to see Dylan Parham step up massively in the absence of Andre James, right? I think a bunch of other things need to happen so we can win this game. It's not just talking about Derek Carr, they're without Rondell Moore, they're without Andy Isabella. They don't have a lot of their explosive players. Andy Isabella is a guy that can take the top off in one play. Rondell Moore is a do-it-all guy. JJ Watt may be out depending on what happens later today. So we'll see. Andy, do you think we get a sack against Murray tomorrow? I hope he don't run all over us. Well, shout out to Mario, man, because that's a good topic right there. And I had just touched on it in the beginning, where I feel like although Max had a good game according to PFF, saying that he leads the league in pressures and he was graded out as the second highest edge rusher in the NFL. That is great. That is great. But there is certain things that need to change, right? If you turn on the tape and you rewatch the game, Max Crosby continuously tried to rush on the inside, which is not what you should do when facing Kyler Murray. Now, I know that you have Josh McDaniels, Patrick Graham, Rob Ryan, all these super, super smart and intelligent staff members that I'm sure they will tell him that. But I do think that tomorrow it is extremely important that Chandler Jones, Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz, and whoever the other edge rusher is, they need to make sure that they put everything inside and make sure that Kyler Murray has no opportunities to break contain and make a big play, because he can make a big play with his feet and rush for 30 yards, or he can throw the ball. So we'll see. We'll really see what happens. Yes, Teen Raider, we do need to see a big step up from Sam Webb. You know, you have Anthony Avery go down with an injury. So Sam Webb is a part of that next man up mentality, and I think that he'll be ready. Sam Webb should be out there. We should see his services get put to use this week. AJ Green, Greg Dortch, Hollywood Brown. These are their starting receivers. It's not a strong receiving core. So we need to be able to attack them. We need to be able to play man and really rush the passer. We need to do all these kinds of things. And you also need to be able to get pressure with your front four. We can't always send a blitz from the edge. We can't always send a blitz with your linebackers. You got to do other things. And it's not just blitzing every play. Yeah, you got to get pressure naturally as well. I agree, Andy. Max must rush better with the discipline this week. I agree, yeah. Was there any gaming tournaments this past week? What do you mean? What do you mean? Gaming tournaments? Andy, we need to run the rock, then throw off the play action and sprinkle in the screens, quick crossing routes to Hunter. Dude, we are on the exact same page, my guy. We were just talking about that earlier in the live. I didn't mention the crossing patterns to Hunter, but we literally touched up on all of that. That's exactly what I think that the Raiders need to do. You develop so much more when you're doing the play action. It makes these linebackers come downhill. You pull these fucking linebackers down. You get big chunk plays over the middle. it is a very, very, very good recipe for success. You see the Browns, they did it time after time after time. They had two good backs in Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, which forced the linebackers of the other team to consistently respect the run. Now, we don't have a Nick Chubb and we don't have a Kareem Hunt, but we have Josh Jacobs and then we have a young Zamir White that both can pound the ball north and south, right? So we need to make these teams respected. Now, of course, that's a big, 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 big ask of rookie Dylan Parham. I think fourth year or third year John Simpson. You also have Lester Cotton in that mix. So it is going to be very, very interesting to see how we establish it. I don't think that we should really force it too much, but I think it definitely needs to be established early. It can't be established in the third fucking quarter like it was last week. That's unacceptable in my opinion. Um, Andy in the slot, should Abram spy that tiny dancer? I think that Abram should definitely have a lot of different ways that we should use him this week, whether it's a blitz, whether it's a spy, whether it's a matchup on the tight end or the slot receiver. We need to utilize Abram a lot this week, but mostly in a physical way. Now Nate Hobbs, we know that Nate Hobbs is gonna have a fucking phenomenal game. He looked like our only bright spot out there last week on the defense at times. At times, our defense played good, but you know, there was absolutely no way to replace what Nate Hobbs did last week. It was absolutely phenomenal. Like there's no other way, there's no other way to explain it. Nate Hobbs is a playmaker. The fact that he played all last season with a torn labrum speaks volumes. That man is a different breed. And shout out to Kenny. That's been Kenny's number one guy ever since we drafted him. So, bro, Nate Hobbs, there's not enough good that you could say about him. Parham will be all right. Simpson and Cotton will concern you. I kind of agree. I do think that Parham will actually transition well. Everything that we've heard about Parham, whether when it was in the draft process or once he got into the NFL, was this: how smart he is, how he's able to take in so much information and reciprocate it as well. I think that he will be fine. I think that as long as the timing of the snaps is there, as long as the delivery of the snaps is there, I think we'll be just fine. But not Parham, Simpson, he does concern me a little bit in pass protection, but he is pretty decent in the run department. Lester Cotton is an absolute bully, but we do need to make sure that we don't get too caught up in the holdings or getting our guys held out here. We need to do better with that kind of stuff, but thankfully we didn't get caught on any of it last week, so that's good. And I think that one thing we need to continue to realize and actually appreciate is that last year the penalties wasn't something that really killed us. We had that on lock for most of the game. We looked the part. We looked like a disciplined team, and we need to continue that. We need to continue that because, like just Josh McDaniel says, man, penalties are losing plays, flags are losing plays, all that kind of shit. We have to avoid it as much as possible. The Raiders are still the best team in the AFC West. Let's go prove it tomorrow, Jay. Let's go pop this team. Parham's actually better than James. Real talk. Who knows? I think that Parham is better than Lester Cotton and John Simpson. But I think that Andre James did pretty good last week. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think that Parham is a guy that can do everything. So it's kind of like we get left wanting more from him. I think that Andre James held it down decent enough last week, or he was fine. Um, I think that Parham will do just fine tomorrow, but I agree with the other comments saying that they may be a little bit more about the guard position. Um, James is good. He has talent, but a bit raw, but serviceable if James is out. No, James did get ruled out. James got ruled out yesterday. Trayvon Merritt got ruled out yesterday, and Denzel Perryman. All three of those guys got ruled out. So, like I said, we need to see a massive step up between our two UDFA rookies and Darian Butler and Luke Masterson, as well as the defensive back department with Anthony Averett being out, Sam Webb, what's his name, Amik Robertson. They all need to step up. And with the running backs, right? Running backs, it looks like Brandon Bolden, even though he had a good game where he had that big touchdown, it looks like he'll be out tomorrow. So, you know, Amir Abdullah needs to get a bigger role. Zamir White should get a bigger role. All that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff. And then, you know, obviously Isaiah Pola-Mao and Deron Harmon should see more time tomorrow since Trayvon Merrick is out. So, yeah. Couldn't we still sign JC Treader? You could always sign somebody. You could sign me if you wanted, but it's what the team wants. Yeah, there's no free agency deadline. There's a trade deadline, but there's no free agency deadline. So you can always do it. You can always do it. Um, let's see. He's a great center. Who's a great center? Oh, Treader. Yeah, I mean he's good. Um, if he was great, he'd be on a team though. Would you consider starting Cotton over Simpson at left guard when Andre James gets back? Um, no, I would rather leave Cotton there and just put Parham at left guard because Parham has practiced more at left guard than what's his name, Lester Cotton. So yeah. Yo, Andy, fuck no, fuck that, Raider 88, fuck that, fuck you. Don't know if someone asked this yet, but do you think we see a heavy blitz package from Patrick Graham since the Cardinals lack any real outside threats? I think that could be a good game plan to try and exploit them. You know, if their receivers can't get separation, just put our guys in man coverage, blitz Abram, blitz, you know, Diablo. That could be very, very smart. But I think that you do that on certain scenarios, right? I think that you do that on 3rd and 3, where you're just trying to get off the field and make the play as quick as possible. I think you could do that on first down when you still can allow a couple more yards. But I don't think that should be a game plan that we're just going to go out there, press and blitz. I think that that's stupid because any coordinator in the NFL is gonna pick up on that pretty quick. Put another blocker in there, put another blocker in there, and then put another blocker in there, and then you know AJ Green. Yeah, he's not the same, but he's also still able to get up there and make a big play. So we'll see. We'll see. Shout out to my guy GA. He says, even after last week, I'm more excited about this team than I have been since '01. Win, lose, or tie, Raider Nation till I die. Facts, man. I think that, you know, a lot of people did good last week. I'm speaking about the fans. I think a lot of the fans did really good last week, trying to look at the positives, right? Um, you know, so one of the biggest things is that we turned the ball over 3 times, had 2 fumbles, but yet we only lost by 4 or 5 points. So yeah, that's a big positive. That is very, very important. To if you want to look at it that way. But I also do agree with Josh McDaniels. There's no moral victories and there's no, you know, tiny victories in this league. You gotta improve. You gotta improve. And I think that last week it was a wake up call, just in general, not because I felt like we had any guys that were like slacking or anything, but it was definitely okay. This was a big game. You don't want to lose any more divisional games, but we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Andy's our second kicker. Never forget. Facts, Reaper. What up, Andy? Heard Andy's looking for the kicker. Haha, my boy. They need your boot. Hey, I will never play for any fucking team. It's not the Raiders. Last week, Detroit ran a lot of NASCAR packages instead of having a spy the whole time on Hertz, faster guys with better pursuit. Hope we do something similar. Yeah, I mean it's kind of tough, right? Because the Lions kind of did that because they needed to put pressure, and they don't really have a good defensive line, so they kind of have to put these rushers in a position where, yeah, they'll contain Hurts, but I also think that Philly did a bad job in not running the ball a lot more because you have slimmer guys on the interior, about 30, 40 pounds less than your right guard, left guard, and center from the Philadelphia Eagles, and I feel like Philly should have just ran the ball more. But I mean, they won anyway, so it is what it is. But fuck the Eagles. Hey Andy, how are you feeling about Parham subbing in for Andre James? We're going to be okay. I think we'll be just fine with Andre out this week. I think it is going to be a bigger testament though to our guards, Cotton and Simpson. because I think that we will be running a lot of more, power concepts. I think that we will see screenplays, and they need to get out in open space and really do what they need to do. So we'll see what happens. I also would not be surprised, you guys, if with the rotation that we saw last week of Josh McDaniels taking out Illuminor, putting in Munford. I think that something that we may be forgetting about a little bit is the fact that Illuminor can play guard. Like, he played guard at a high level for us last year. So I think that something that we need to remember going into this matchup is, don't be surprised if you see Thayer Munford at right tackle and then you see Illuminor get bumped in at right guard. I actually would not be opposed to that if that's how they wanted to go forward, right? So we'll see a lot of different things this week. I'm not necessarily a big fan of rotating your guys in and out and in and out. It's not a defensive line, it's an offensive line. These guys are more of a unit, and they kind of need to stick together and get that camaraderie going. But if that's what they plan to do, like I said, don't be surprised if you see Thayer Munford at right tackle and Illuminor at right guard at times, if they want to continue to figure out that right side. We have to find a way to win despite injuries. Good teams find ways to win. Raiders need to put fear into all of the haters tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, fuck those haters. We don't owe them anything. We don't owe them anything. But one thing that I will say is that tomorrow you need to get that quarterback on the ground in the first quarter. You need to set the tone. The defense needs to set the tone, and really show them what's going to be in Kyler Murray's face the whole game. It needs to happen. You need to set that tone early, man. Al Davis, he said it. That quarterback needs to hit the ground, and he needs to hit the ground hard. We need to do that tomorrow. Get this little fucking midget on the ground and fucking punch him in his shit. Why not? Fuck him. Do shit like that. Make them not want to play the game. Get them mentally checked out. I need that to happen. Tomorrow will be very, very interesting on how it all turns out. We know that they do have big playability with their quarterback, and their running back had 17 or more touchdowns last year. So yes, they are without DeAndre Hopkins and without Andy Isabella and without Elijah Moore, or not Elijah Moore, fucking what's his face, Rondell Moore. But we still got to go out there and we still got to win, and we got to put up a lot of points. Andy, do you think this game is a must-win game for us? As a fan, every game is a must-win game, but must win? No, because there isn't any fucking implications yet. But yes, you need to go out there and you need to win, because you can't go 0-2, not in this division. You can't go 0-2. This division is too damn good to drop 2 out of 2 games to start the season. You can't do that. Can't do that. Abrams should spy Murray all day long. I think that Murray would shit himself if he saw number 24 just following him all game long. Yeah, we need to put the league on notice. I think that we showed the league a lot of what we're about, but we also showed and put up a lot of bad films. So we got to make sure that we try and negate the bad plays. We got to make him camp like in COD so we can sack his ass. Nation, let's keep in mind that's only the second game starters are playing with a new playbook. Yeah, but at the same time, these guys are professionals. These guys get paid millions and millions. They get paid millions and millions of dollars to play and learn these playbooks. So yes, they are human, but at the same time, they are professionals. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, it's their first time playing together. Oh, it's their second time playing together." No, you get paid millions of dollars to be a professional. Be prepared. That's what it should be, right? Do I think that there's a little bit of rust? Of course, I'm not gonna be mad about that. But we got to make sure that we're still holding these guys to a standard. And I think that we need to do that, right? And I think a lot of you guys did do that. But yes, I agree. It is only their second game. Stars are playing together with a new playbook. But yeah, no. This is a must-win game. No 0-2 team made the playoffs last season. Well, there you go. There you go. Kenny put it out there. This is a must-win game. I know it's one game at a time, but going forward, I'm concerned about our inability to pressure QBs from the interior. Am I tripping, Andy? No, you're not. I mean, interior pressure is very, very, very important. It's extremely important. Interior pressure is a great thing to have. But me personally, I actually thought that Bilal Nichols had a good game last week. I thought that he did pretty good. So we'll see what happens later on in the line. But I do think that we have been lacking an interior presence for many years, not just this season, last season. We've been lacking that for a long time. Sean says, Andy, Cowboys cut John Ridgeway. Would you grab him? No, he's a head case, bro. He causes way too many issues. I believe in the camp he got into over 10 fucking fights in the off season with his own teammates. I don't want John Ridgeway on this team. I understand that he's 6'7", 340 pounds, and that could be a big, asset. But if you look at it, who the fuck do the fucking Cowboys have on the interior for them to be cutting their fourth or fifth round pick? No, I'm okay. I'm okay. Um, John Ridgeway, no thanks. I'm shocked on how good Andrew Billings played. Andrew Billings played very, very well in the preseason, and he did reciprocate that and showed it again last week. I think that Andrew Billings is a guy that I believe he's 27 years old. You do need to kind of rely on him and Hankins to really plug up that middle this season, and I hope that he can stay healthy. Let's see, guys. It's gonna take at least 4 games to see what we really got. They're still learning the plays. See, I disagree with that. We've had all off season. Unless we're installing new plays, these guys should not be in week 4 still learning the playbook. That I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I disagree. These guys are professionals. They get paid millions of dollars to be prepared and perform every week, right? They can't still be learning a month into the season. Unless it's a new installment and a new play for the matchup that they see on film the week before, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Yes, could they still be gelling? Yeah, but they need to know the playbook and they need to know the plays well before fucking last week. No way. DC needs to target other players, not just Devontae Adams. I agree, but like I said, Derek Carr understood that, and he said it himself. He said that he was forcing passes. So I think that we'll see Derek Carr go back to taking what the defense gives him and taking that shot when it presents himself. I think that we will see that. You think through week 2 that Sue would lower his price? No. I don't think that Sue really has any desire to play for a football team at the moment. Now, do I think that Adamakin Sue, once it's week fucking 12 and there's 8 teams trying to make it to the playoffs and there's one team that's the clear cut fucking in a clear cut position to make the playoffs and going to get a first round bye and they somehow have a freak injury at the interior of their defensive line, I think Adamakin Sue will go there. I don't think that right now he necessarily is I don't think he's in any rush to sign to a team. Since Bolden is out, I hope Zoo steps in. Yeah, well, Bolden's role wasn't necessarily a north to south. He was more of a pass catcher, blocker, all that kind of stuff. So maybe Zeus doesn't step up. Maybe Amir Abdullah does. I do want to see Zeus out there. It will be interesting to see if Britton Brown does get activated this week to play. But like I said, man, Denzel Perryman being out, you have to have a big performance, a big performance from your depth. Andy, people slept on the fact that we only gave up 85 yards on the ground, clean up the mistakes on offense, and we're playoff bound. I think that that's 100% true, although it is way too far from that time. But at the same time, I mean, if you clean up one of those interceptions, we're talking about a game that wouldn't even have went down to that last drive. It would have you could have kicked the field goal, and then you could have kicked the field goal on that last drive, and you would have been winning. So I think that those mistakes absolutely need to be fixed. I think that nobody in their right mind, if they understand football, thinks that the Raiders are a bad team because they lost by 4 points to the Chargers. I don't think that anybody in their right mind thinks that. I think that we need to clean up the mistakes, take care of the ball. Ball security is the biggest thing in the NFL, and win the turnover battle. And yeah, I think you have a recipe for many, many wins. Bolden is the one who understands Josh's vision. I think, again, at this point, you are 2 weeks into the season. If you don't understand your coach's vision, that is a problem. So, yeah. Will you be at tomorrow's game? No, I will be at home watching it and fucking ripping my fucking eyes out throughout the whole game because of stress. Um, Andy, no excuses. Step up and do your job. Champions do not make excuses. They just make it happen. Simple as that. Simple as that. Zeus may sit for a long while. McDaniels like to let young running backs ride the bench for a year. Well, let's see. Let's see. DC4 just has to look more confident. He doesn't have to just look more confident. He has to play more confident. He needs to distribute the ball the way he's been doing his entire career. That's made him a standout quarterback in my eyes. The fact that Derek Carr may not have the best receiving room throughout his whole career, but he can hit 7 different pass catchers. That's what makes Derek Carr a good quarterback to me. The fact that Derek Carr is extremely accurate and doesn't make mistakes how he made last week is what makes Derek Carr a good quarterback to me. But last week, he didn't spread the ball out. He didn't hit 6, 7, 8 different pass catchers. He hit one for almost 50% of our targets last week, and he turned the ball over 3 times. So that's not the Derek Carr that we're used to. That's not the Derek Carr that I'm used to. So we need to fix it up, and we need to win games. La Máquina, bro, y'all got fucking smoked. Man, look, Brian, y'all are in no fucking position to talk. No position. Players who didn't catch Josh's vision didn't make the 53-man roster. I agree. Is Watt playing Aaron? He is listed as doubtful, but we will know, I think, today if they end up downgrading him. I remember with Coop and Crabtree, he'd share the love. Even Seth Roberts would get involved. Of course, Seth Roberts would get involved. Lee Smith, the blocking tight end, would get involved. Jalen Richard would get involved in the passing game. We need to open up we just need to open up. We just need to open up. Simple as that. Yeah. Low-key Mac got him. What do you mean? Jacobs running wild tomorrow? I hope to see that. I would love to see a Jacobs show tomorrow, because if we see a Jacobs show, that means that we are going to win the game easily. He don't run no more. His wife said no more running. Yeah, it is interesting, right? Because you do turn on, different tapes from here and there, and you do see like, wow, it does look like he was a little bit more aggressive here and here and here. But at the same time, he had to make those plays because he had nobody to depend on. Now he feels like if he throws the ball away, that's okay, because Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs, or Devontae Adams will all get the first down on the next play, right? So I understand. I think that we need to be situational with how aggressive we play at times. Would we all like to see Derek Carr maybe get loose a little bit more? Sure, but the flashy stuff doesn't always win you the game. So it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. And he missed an easy TD throw to Waller. Yeah, so that pass, I believe you're talking about on the opening drive or the drive after, when he hit Darren Waller behind him. I think that both parties could have did a lot better. Obviously, the pass could have been how it should have and been on the numbers or on his hands. DC doesn't need to run, but he needs to slide in the pocket to extend plays. Josh wants him to deliver it from the pocket, how he gets better. Yeah, I mean, we know that DC is a good pocket passer. Like, we know he is. Murray is my fantasy quarterback. You know what I think it is? I think that I think that with Derek Carr, when we say that he needs to do one thing, like run the ball more, I think that that's because he has to overcompensate for a bigger problem, which would be your offensive line, right? If your quarterback has to run, unless you're Lamar Jackson in the Ravens system, that's overcompensating for a bigger problem, right? I agree. Derek Carr, situationally, there is times where he should just run, and he doesn't, and it pisses everybody off. But you also have to make sure that you're still putting your quarterback in a good position, right? Like, um, Joe Burrow threw fucking 4 picks, and nobody's talking about how Joe Burrow should fucking run the ball more. Because guess what? He got fucking sacked 7 times and threw 4 interceptions. So there's a bigger problem at hand. But I think that Derek Carr also played poorly. Let's see some Tashawn Bauer. Yeah, I agree. DC plays better under pressure. 2 of his 3 interceptions were from clean pockets. Let's see. Why doesn't Kuntz get love? I think that this regime is making sure that when we put guys out there, they're prepared, right? Um, we didn't put Darian Butler out there, and he had a very good preseason in camp. We didn't put Sean Bauer out there, and he had a very good preseason in camp. We didn't put a lot of guys out there that look good in the preseason because simply they may think that they're just not ready. And ultimately, if that's what they think, then I'm going to agree with them. I'm not going to try and force them out there, you know? Um, DC needs to make the line look worse. Oh wait, DC tends to make the line look worse than it really is by simply not stepping up in the pocket. I push back, but at the same time, I agree with that statement. There was about 4 to 5 clear times where I felt like DC could have just stepped up and delivered a dart. But it's also a lot easier said than done. And ultimately, if I'm going back and watching a game that has over 100 plays and I'm talking about 5, it is what it is. DC could run or extend the plays more to help the offense out, but especially on 3rd and short. Now, that's where I would agree, and that's what I was talking about. Situationally, DC should do it more, or he should just do it, period. Because situationally, there's times where we're like, well, what the fuck? Like, you throw the ball away on 3rd down, when on 3rd down you should be doing any fucking thing possible to get those chains moving, right? So I would agree with you guys, but it's situationally. I don't agree when we're saying that Derek Carr needs to run the ball more and he got fucking sacked on 1st down. Who fucking cares? It's 1st down. You got 2nd and 3rd down and still get it. It is what it is at that point. Chargers won the game. Give credit where credit's due. Let's move forward, nation. Raiders should win against Arizona 30-20. I gave them their credit right after the game. I literally said that they were the better team than us. Yeah, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to take away anything that the Chargers did. Nothing. Crosby and Jones have to have better games tomorrow. I agree. DC fumbles way too easily to be a runner. Well, that's another thing. Shaky line made it hard for him. Do we need a spy for Kyler? I think so. I don't think that you necessarily need to have a spy specifically for Kyler Murray. But what I do think is that the biggest thing tomorrow is making sure that Max Crosby and Chandler Jones truly contain 4 full quarters. You have to contain, because if you actually look at it, the Chiefs held them to very little big plays, but the big plays that they did have was Kyler Murray getting out of the pocket and making a big play. So Max Crosby got to rush on the outside a lot this week. You can't be doing what he did last week, trying to rush on the inside and all that bullshit. So I don't necessarily think we need a spy on every play. I think that it would help if you have a spy on 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 6 or 3rd and long, like a 3rd and 12 or something like that. But I don't necessarily think that it has to be done like every single play or something like that. I think that we'll be fine. We'll be fine if we don't dedicate an entire fucking game to or player to spying Kyler Murray. Now, we could dedicate a player to spying Kyler Murray and you only put that player out there on certain plays. We need to get some pick sixes and go for a touchdown tomorrow, Andy. I agree. I'd love to see a defensive turnover. I would love to see a defense score points. But if you're asking your defense to score points, it's because your offense isn't doing enough. So, yeah. How did Rocky Sin play? I'm hearing people say he played bad, but I was at the stadium and couldn't tell. I thought that Rocky Sin did the part. He played good. Carr needs more aggression. The nice guy thing doesn't cut it on the field. Well, I mean, it cut it for 10 fucking games last year and it got us into the playoffs. I think that there's times that DC can be more aggressive. Yes. But I also think that we can say that about every single quarterback, that there's things that they need to work on. Does Derek Carr have more things to work on than other quarterbacks? Maybe. But oh well. Like, cool. Nobody's perfect. Andy, let's put your dog in the game. Bro, my dog would fucking die. That fucking dog is like 6 pounds or 7 pounds or some shit like that. Dog is gonna fucking die immediately if he gets anywhere near those dudes. Already said Abrams Spy Murray. There you go. Chat, how do you guys stream games on your phones? I have to work and I don't have ticket. Steven, I think the easiest thing to do is downloading Dofu. The links sometimes go in and out, but they always have another backup link there for you. So if you download Dofu on your phone, it's called Dofu Sports or something like that. As soon as you log in, it should allow you to watch the game. So yeah, if you don't have a way to watch the game, I'd say the best way is just downloading Dofu. Or quick shout out to my guy Scout. Quick shout out to my guy Scout. If you download Discord on your phone and you join our brother Raider Scouts Discord, they always have game links in that chat in their Discord. So yeah, if you want, and that one is more like a family because you got a bunch of people all talking in there and shit like that. So yeah, shit like that. So yeah, if you need a place to watch the game, I'd say just download that. Andy, was good? Was good? My guy Anti was popping, bro. But if you are getting 2.5 to 3 seconds and don't throw the damn ball, you're gonna get hit. That is very, very true. Very true. GA, we both know Carr is one of the fastest in getting the ball out. With that said, then on McDaniels, I think that McDaniels could have had a better play calling day in spurts, but ultimately, I think that McDaniels called a good game, or at least a good enough game to get the win. We just didn't execute properly. Andy, do you think any Zeus will get any burn in this game? I think that we'll see Zeus in the opening drive, and that's what I'm gonna say is my hot fucking take or prediction or some shit like that. I'm gonna say that we see Zamir White Zeus in the first drive. Now I could be extremely fucking wrong, but it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, we've been on here for an hour, you guys. Quick game preview. I should be on tomorrow for some extent. So yes, if you like Raiders content and if you are new to this channel, first hit that subscribe button to join the family. And on your way out, you guys, please hit that like button. It gets the channel out to more and more Raider fans. So that's greatly, greatly appreciated. Out the House presents my score prediction for tomorrow's matchup. I got the Las Vegas Raiders with 28 points. Actually, no, I got the Las Vegas Raiders with 31 points to the Cardinals 17. That's my score prediction for tomorrow. The Raiders get their first win of the season, make the Cardinals drop to 0-2. The Raiders go to 1-1 and tied for second in the division. That's what I think they need to do tomorrow. I hope that's what happens. As always, you guys, I love you guys. Please stay safe. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'm out. Peace.
Welcome to the Death Star, where our opponent's dreams come to die.